Imagine standing alone in a crowded room, knowing that your choice could change the world, but also put everything you have at risk. Would you have the courage to take a stand, to defy an unjust system, even if it meant facing ridicule, isolation, or even violence? This is the story of a quiet, unassuming woman who sparked a revolution simply by refusing to give up her seat. On a cold evening in December 1955 in Montgomery, Alabama, a 42-year-old seamstress named Rosa Parks stepped onto a crowded bus after a long day of work. She took a seat in the colored section, a part of the bus where black passengers were required to sit, even though they paid the same fare as their white counterparts. The laws of segregation, known as Jim Crow laws, were designed to keep black and white Americans apart, treating people of color as second-class citizens. As the bus continued its route, more white passengers boarded, quickly filling the seats. When the front of the bus became crowded, the driver demanded that Parks and 3 other black passengers give up their seats for the white passengers standing in the aisle. The other 3 reluctantly stood up, but Rosa Parks remained seated. She looked out the window, her hands gripping her purse, her heart racing but her resolve unshaken. The driver repeated his command, but Parks quietly responded, "No." In that moment, Rosa wasn't just refusing to give up her seat. She was challenging decades of systemic racism and oppression. She was standing up for every black man, woman, and child who had ever been told they were less than human, that their lives didn't matter. The bus driver threatened to call the police. Parks simply replied, "You may do that," and he did. Moments later, 2 police officers boarded the bus, arrested Parks, and took her into custody. She was fined $10, a small amount, but a heavy price for a seamstress earning a modest wage. But that small act of defiance sparked a fire that would burn through the very fabric of American society. Word of Parks' arrest spread quickly, igniting a movement that would become the Montgomery Bus Boycott. For 381 days, the black community of Montgomery refused to use the city's buses, walking miles to work, carpooling with neighbors, and standing in solidarity against racial injustice. Their collective sacrifice crippled the city's public transportation system and drew national attention to the fight for civil rights. Rosa Parks became a symbol of quiet strength and unyielding courage. She wasn't a politician, a celebrity, or a wealthy influencer. She was an ordinary woman who made an extraordinary choice. She stood alone in a moment of truth, and in doing so, helped change the course of history. In 1956, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that segregation on public buses was unconstitutional, a monumental victory for the civil rights movement. Parks continued to be an advocate for equality and justice for the rest of her life, reminding us all that sometimes the quietest voices have the greatest power. Rosa Parks' act of defiance echoes an ancient African proverb: "When there is no enemy within, the enemies outside cannot hurt you." She found the strength to stand alone because she had already won the battle within herself. She believed in her own worth, her own dignity, and her own right to be treated as a human being. So what about you? What battles are you facing? What moments in your life require you to stand alone, to hold your ground, and to refuse to move even when the world demands it? Remember, courage isn't always loud. Sometimes it's a quiet, unshaken no. It's the decision to stand tall when others would bow, to speak when others would stay silent, and to rise when others would fall. If this story inspired you, share it with someone who needs a reminder that even the smallest acts of courage can change the world. Subscribe to Unseen Triumphs for more powerful stories of resilience and hope. Hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe to join our journey of untold stories and unbreakable spirit.